Okay, the time is now 6:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we'll with roll call.
Virginia Allen, Liz Jarvis,
Stephanie Walsh.
Haley Smith,
Kevin Fair.
And I'll be giving Kevin Coder voting rights tonight in place of Linda Fedor. So now we would review and accept the minutes from December 17th, 2025. Any discussions or edits on the minutes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Agenda.
Yeah, just our meeting agenda? Yep, I said that.
You said that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yep.
Thank you.
Good with the meeting minutes?
Move to accept the minutes of December 17th.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Oh, yeah, right there. Yep. Okay. Yep. Now we move into citizen participation. The Board of Finance wishes to promote the input on issues related to agenda items and on the current board meeting. In order to do so and proceed with the business of the board, we are asking that individuals provide their name and address for the record. We are also asking that all comments be directed to the board and comments be limited to the business at hand. Speakers must adhere to the 3-minute time limit. Anyone would like to speak?
Good morning, Melissa. One of the things you have on your agenda is the town charter and sorry, I lost my place for it. The financial report. As far as the, excuse me for a minute.
Can you take a second?
It's on the fund balance, I'm so sorry. I had two things on my thing here. On the fund balance, I would like to suggest that in reference to the fund balance and the cap that you're about to discuss, experts always counsel you to have 3 months of emergency fund. I'd like to see the town do the same. Everybody should have 3 months emergency fund in their personal household. Also, if we do exceed the cap, whatever that is you set, I'd like to instead, if we have extra money, let's figure out, instead of figuring out how to spend it, I'd like to see the town set some sort of tax relief for the taxpayers. If you have extra money, I'd rather not say, okay, we're over the tax, we're over the fund balance. How would you like to spend this? Let's go and spend it. We're taxing people out of town. Everybody's stressed. Everybody, has no money. I'd like to have the town recognize this fact, and keep that in mind in everything we do. While I do agree we need a lot of things done in town, I think these things can be better accomplished by budgeting and planning instead of what we have. If we have extra money, let's figure out how to spend it. Thank you.
Trav Harmon, Moosup, Connecticut. I would like to make clear that my concern tonight is not about whether the town should ever use its fund balance. It is about authority, timing, and process. Fund balance policy is not an executive function. In Plainfield, financial policy begins with the Board of Finance. That separation exists to protect taxpayers and to prevent short-term decision-making from becoming normalized without proper oversight. What makes this especially concerning is the timing. We are right before tax season when the budget, the mill rate, and the tax burden on the residents are being defined. Public statements describing the fund balance as being very healthy or substantial sends a message to the residents that the town has more money than it needs. That naturally leads people to believe that we may be being overtaxed and the excess funds should now be spent, when in reality, the discussion should be as much as whether the tax burden should be lowered. That kind of messaging has real consequences during budget season. It shapes expectations before the Board of Finance has reviewed the numbers, set priorities, or made any policy recommendations. Once the public perception has become there is too much money, becomes much harder to have an honest and disciplined budget discussion. Fund balance is not extra money. It is the town's financial safety net. It exists to protect against emergencies, revenue shortfalls, state delays, unexpected liabilities. When it is framed as discretionary spending simply because it exceeds a percentage, it undermines its role as a safeguard and weakens the discipline which keeps the town financially stable. There is also an order of operations. If the town has capital needs or deferred maintenance, the responsible approach is to present a clear capital plan first, with cost and priorities, and then discuss funding options. Talking about spending reserves before that work is done is backwards. What I am asking is reasonable. Slow this down. Keep it in the proper lane. Let the Board of Finance lead any discussion on fund balance policy through budget process with the documentation and public review. Especially during tax season, restraint, clarity, and process matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Sinkowitz, Plainfield Village. Just wanted to kind of echo a little bit of what Mr. Harmon was just saying. I did find it interesting when I was looking at the agenda that if this was an actionable item tonight regarding the fund balance policy. I remember as Board of Finance Chair and as being a member of this board that this is something that should be done annually. Consider making changes to this completely 100% within the authority and discretion of the Board of Finance. But this is not something that's been being talked about really in recent Board of Finance meetings. We've got a lot going on. Obviously, there's new members on the board, leadership on the board. I think the timing of this is kind of interesting. Just with everything that's going on, some people kind of getting oriented, understanding your job on the Board of Finance. I'm very happy that this is being discussed, but I definitely can't see this as being an actionable item tonight. I think this is a good initial discussion. Not only for yourself as a mixture of different Board of Finance members here from different backgrounds, but also for the members of the public. For members of the public who might be watching the video or here at the meeting, this might be their first time really looking closely at our fund balance policy as far as what does it mean exactly? What does this entail? What are you changing on it? How does this affect our fund balance in the long term? So I think it's a good starting point to have some discussion tonight. And kind of like how the Board of Selectmen does with ordinances. We don't just introduce an ordinance and in that same exact meeting take action on it immediately. We do it in steps and phases. There's an initial discussion, that might be a secondary discussion, might even be a third discussion before it ends up going to informational meeting, before it goes to the townspeople. While this in particular does not go to the townspeople, because again, it's in full discretion of Board of Finance, the townspeople still deserve an opportunity to come maybe to the future meeting in February or March, ask questions on this. Why are you looking to make changes to this? Why are you maybe looking to have a whole new invented fund balance policy when we actually do have a history in this town of having different years, different policies that have been amended? And they actually didn't change too drastically. I remember in my years on the Board of Finance, there was 2 instances. We didn't do it every year, what we really should, reevaluate the fund balance policy. But in those 2 years, we made some adjustments when it came to the percentage. And that's perfectly fine, again, within the discretion of the Board of Finance. But you might want to maybe spend more time as each individual member. I don't know if you've all had time to look at our history of those fund balance policies, which are on record with the town clerk. If you haven't, I would certainly encourage you to do that. And obviously, any information that's being introduced tonight by our finance director is great. It's great to see what are some recommendations, what are some changes, what are maybe some areas that are outdated that maybe we should have done years ago when I was in the Board of Finance. So, good starting point, good discussion, but I would ask that you definitely not rush this through and possibly take action of approving and adopting something tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? to motion to add the proposed budget schedule to today's agenda under as section G under new business. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. So, section A is discuss and act upon the financial reports as presented by the Board of Selectmen.
I'll go here for the mic, easier for the camera. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Third time's a charm. There we go. So I presented to you the financials as of the end of the month for December. So you have December 31st financials compared to budget. We also have a forecast for the end of the year. You also have year-over-year financials and a trend report. So I know it's a lot more information that you are accustomed to seeing, but I also know it's something that's been requested. So I know you guys also like the summary sheet that we did, so I continued on with that. And then as we both grow together, however changes or whatever you see, whatever you like, whatever you don't like, we can absolutely improve on. As I said, I have an open door policy, transparency, and I just want us to all be on the same page. So let's see, general revenue financial update. As of December 31st, we posted a little over $27 million in revenue, representing almost 51% of the $53 million budgeted. We have recorded 7.4 in expenses of 13.9 general budget operating expenses. At 53, the school has reported 18.2 million, and so the town is currently in a net positive position of 1.3 million. Revenue highlights, do you want me to run through this or no, because you guys got copies of this?
Running through it probably is the best.
Run it through?
Yeah, well, keep the recording and presenting.
Sure.
So
Whatever you'd like is fine with me.
that's my fault.
Yeah, that's summary. Okay. So interest revenue has already exceeded, we lost that. Interest revenue has already exceeded budget by $110,000. We've been averaging about $60,000 per month, so that'll continue to be flush for the remainder of the year.
Lisa,
Yes, Joe?
is there any way that we could get a really quick overview, not tonight, next month perhaps, of what the investment schedules look like for the town?
Well, there is no true investment schedules because we're required by state statute. We can't really invest in much. We have STIP accounts, and so there really can't be, there's no like real portfolio of investing in outside things.
Is there a specific reason, not that it's a bad thing, that we're running $60,000 in profit?
Its interest rates are higher. That's throughout. You find that throughout the entire state.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's see, fire marshal revenue, we separated out recreation and senior revenue. We also created the rec department sheet, so there's now a revenue, expense, and line item summary for everyone to have, so you can see what programs are bringing in revenue for rec, as well as the expenses associated with them. So that's something new that has been asked for, so we put that together for you.
Lisa, sorry, another question. I apologize, I'm going to have questions. Fire marshal revenue is anticipated below budget due to the one-time new line. Is that a pilot program?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, are we looking to reduce their budget for 26-27?
Nope,
We're
we're not.
going to leave it the same.
We're going to leave it the same, because we can do line item transfers for expenses. We typically don't touch line item transfers for revenue. We can if the board so chooses. And then fire marshal revenue, it was funds that came in at the end of last fiscal year that were budgeted this fiscal year. Let's see, back tax revenue, tax interest and lien revenue, that's all downstairs in the tax department, is elevated due to payment from a large delinquent tax collector. Motor vehicle supplemental revenue, I guess this was the first year you guys have budgeted for this line item. Motor vehicle supplemental bills are the bills that typically go out the end of December and they're due in January. In a perfect world, no one just gets new cars October 1st, right? And that's the assessment date. So anytime you get a car between October 1st and September 30th, it's considered a prorated bill. And those bills go out in December or January and they're due in January. So motor vehicle supplemental bills are considered a partial year bill to get everyone caught up for next July.
And so you never really know what a true number is, because it all depends on who gets new vehicles or who registers vehicles from or old vehicles. It's just when they get a new vehicle. But our budget and actual, it's more than double. So we're going to have a huge increase in this line item.
So my question would be, sorry, given this budget, I know that the state of Connecticut is one of the only states in the country that actually still has motor vehicle subsidy taxes or supplemental taxes. Is that something the town of Plainfield?
Nope, that's required by state law.
It is required.
Yes, it is. It is not an option. Okay, state revenues, we're still waiting for several payments. You can see that in comparison to the year-over-year summary, but we don't expect any shortfalls. There hasn't been anything coming from the state saying that we're not getting it. No assigned fund balance has been utilized to date, and our total revenue is forecasted to exceed budget by 1.3 million. That's forecast. That's not where we are now. Departmental expenses. Overall, this is the first forecast of the year, so it's really just saying that every department's going to fall within line or be close. It's still 6 months left for the remainder of the year, so I wanted to just highlight things that are standing out that could be problematic, but we do have other line items that could cover it. Overall, I will preface that I do expect us to be under budget by the end of the year, same as last month. Overtime, is it snowing yet out now? I know it's supposed to snow tonight. And what did it do last weekend? Snow. What did it do over New Year's and Christmas? Snow. So when we have to call in people to take care of snow and ice, that's overtime. So we have had a hard year due to inclement weather, hitting us mostly on weekends. And what are we going to get Sunday? Snow. So we're going to have to watch that line item carefully, because we're probably going to have to do a budget line item transfer to cover that. But that's out of our control, and that's why we have other items to make up for it. But as I said, I do expect the end of the year to be fine. Let's see, we've got health insurance is coming a little bit lower than expected, but we might need to make one more payment. We're still going to be in line for the town. Unemployment's a little bit higher, because we do have someone on claim that we didn't expect, but very minuscule. Retirement payouts, we've already expensed $31,040, but that's ebbs and flow in staffing. General insurance seems slightly under budget, but once again, line item transfer. Computer expense, both are trending slightly higher. I know Kevin is into looking into new IT solutions overall, but once again, we don't foresee it being an issue at the end of the year for total expenses. Tax refunds, we are going to copy the statewide standard. It should no longer be an expense. It's not something you guys vote on. If someone overpays their taxes, do you really want to be subject to a vote? It's state statute that the Board of Selectmen has to vote that they get the money, but it's really a net of expense, net of revenue. So if you have it as a revenue and an expense, and then, for example, you have to do refund, it's almost like accounting it twice or overstating your revenue. So it's going to be net revenue, and that's industry practice across the state. Okay. And Karen is familiar with this, and she's good at it too. Let's see, capital fund balance, truck lease payment, a third and final payment was not budgeted and due, so of course we had to pay that.
I have a question about that.
Go ahead, you need your mic on. Sorry, Naomi.
Turn it on.
How was that not budgeted? Because I was looking at that this afternoon. So was that missed in this year's budget for the truck payment?
Yes, it was a 3-year lease, and year 3 was not just included in the last budget, simple oversight.
Okay.
But we were able to absorb it because of the next line item, the transfer station that was awarded $200,000 in budget is going to go back. That didn't pass, but it was in the budget.
So that's where the payment came from, was $200,000 from the...
It's actually just overall, it'll be part of the line item transfers.
Okay.
The use of fund balance, I'm actually forecasting to return the 1.2 million in addition to the 200,000 at this current moment. So the town is actually projected to give back to the town 1.4 million. So I think that is something all worth celebrating. I think that's a great thing. Let's see, current unbudgeted financial impacts, highway department. We have to replace the crushed aged clay sewer pipes and a full line replacement. That's going to be looking more towards the spring. They don't want to really do it in the winter time. And we're hoping to use town road aid for that because it is infrastructure, but we'll know more as we get bids as that goes along.
So has that work has not been done yet? What are they doing for sewer up there?
Everything is functioning right now for the department, so for right now it's okay. We will have to replace that entire pipe area that goes not only to the highway garage, but it also goes to the animal control and also goes to the bus garage. So we'll have a springtime project.
Is that out for RFP? Is that out for RFP, or is that going to be something that's
It's
done?
being drafted right now.
So, let me get this straight. It's functioning now, so it's not technically an emergency anymore. Why aren't we budgeting for this? Why are we just throwing it out there and doing it?
We didn't budget for it, we didn't know it was going to happen.
Right, but we're setting the budget now. Why aren't we setting it, putting it in the new budget, coming up and doing it next cycle?
We do have enough money available for other funding to get it done in the springtime through different, like, whether it's LoSiP or town road aid.
But what's not going to get done because we're not budgeting for this non-emergency, which, what was that money going to be used for before?
We didn't have a plan for it, we could use it for anything, based on whatever falls underneath LoSiP or town road. It's available, so we can use it.
Right, but my point is, it's because it's available, we're using it. It's not technically an emergency anymore because it's working. We just want to do it because it's going to be a problem. We know it's going to be a problem. We should be budgeting.
Pipes were crushed, they backed up, we were able to undo the backup.
So you cleared the line.
Yeah.
So it's working.
Yes.
So again,
It's a plate pipe, we don't know if it could still crush even further and back it even further. So that's why we're trying to put an RFP together for it right away.
So Sean, are you asking why this is not something that's just gonna be added to the capital?
correct. It should be a budget item now. At this point, the emergency has been resolved. Now we should be budgeting.
Yeah.
We don't just run out and spend money. That's all. I'm just curious as to if the emergency's been resolved, it's functioning, how is it still an emergency and it's got to be done right now?
Still putting together the RFP. The RFP can be done in the budget for next year if we wanted to.
I'll just, if you don't mind, if I digress to what road aid actually is, because it's actually one of the funds that I want to set up. Road aid comes from the state, and there's a state statute that requires this. It can only be used for roads, infrastructure, and tree trimming. It's very, very specific, and I have to report back to the state what actually goes in that. And we got $283,000 for that, as well as we had a road construction capital for $300,000. So there's 500 there that's supposed to be used for roads, but that 283 has to be used for roads and infrastructure. And so right now, the highway department, they need to have a plan, whether it's for paving, whether it's for this piping, but whatever they decide is going to stay within that statute. I'm just explaining to you.
No, I understand what you're saying, but again, that money would have been used for something else like paving roads. Now we're going to shift it off of paving a road to repairing a line that's not technically an emergency anymore. That's my statement at this point.
We're keeping an eye on it on a daily basis to see what's going to happen. So it could happen, we might have to do it right away.
Well, it
doesn't hurt to have the RFP ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, auditorium AV currently underway with LoSiP funds, and accounting software bids have been received and forwarded to the selectmen, covered MRSA funding. Lastly, year-over-year comparison.
Please, can we back up for a second?
Sure can.
I'm a little concerned that this is being presented to the selectmen. This is a capital expenditure that should be brought to the Board of Finance first for review. And I think my colleagues on this board would like to see what presentations are brought to you before any decisions are made.
Is it usually a Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen function, Kevin?
Which item are we talking about?
Accounting software.
That's yours.
That's off.
I think the audio needs to be addressed.
I think you see.
So, the monies that you're using from which account would be for?
MRSA funds.
So those are expendable during the year. You could use that for what she's going to be looking to expend. She's already gone out and had multiple presentations.
I can share them. I can share them. There's 3 companies that we looked at, and there was 3 different tiers. One was extremely high, one was mediocre that I like to go with, but we actually like the lesser version because it's much easier. It's some more simplistic conversion, and it's Edmunds GovTech, and it's $8,500 a year. where the high tier one was like 46,000 and the mid tier was 21,000. So this is under the 10,000 a year budget.
Okay, and what is the conversion cost, or is there?
It's
one?
included.
Oh.
But I can easily copy, it's no big deal. What I really wanted was the software, is to be able to come up here, and if you have questions, we can drill down and see who the vendor is, and then look at the invoice. And all three of them had it, and it just, you know, one was astronomically high, one I would have liked to get, but I still think it's just too much, and we just want to get away from a system that's over 20 years old.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So in that position, we're $541,000 higher in that position than we were December of last year. You know, we're forecasting, we're trending good. So any questions that you want to ask at this point? I mean, you have your forecast. Is there information you don't want to get?
I don't think it's information that we don't want to get. One of the things I would like to say at this point is when we're putting out to the public that our fund account is over and that we're quote unquote making it look like we're hoarding money. Money was put in the capital last year, but it was for a specific project that the town voted down. That's not to say that the people in the town are not aware that there is infrastructure issues and things that we may need to be addressing. So transparency is something I think that we're striving for, and looking at what are the things that we should responsibly be investing our money in. Because we have schools that are going to be needing HVAC systems, we have buildings that are in disrepair. I received a phone call today and found out that our senior center had a card game this morning and the temperature in the building, or where they were playing cards, was 61 degrees. That's not acceptable. Space heaters being used. Do we need to address the furnace at the senior center? I don't know. So these are the things. If we have over in our fund account, do we want to start looking at investing money in set aside fund accounts and addressing some of these issues? Because we've had years of kicking the can and ignoring or patch jobbing major issues because we didn't have the money. So I would like to see a mill decrease or give money back. Sure, absolutely. But I also want to make sure that we're properly investing our money in our town and taking care of repairs so that our future, children are not inheriting our mess. So that's where it's kind of like the road aid repair. I understand what Sean's saying. It's like we have this overture. Do we want to start looking at how we want to invest more in our capital? I mean, we've had people in our public stand in meetings before, years ago saying our capital plan was like the Christmas wish list.
I mean, I can't agree with you more of investing in the town. I wholeheartedly agree with it, and that's why I actually am appreciative of starting the Capital and Strategic Committee plan, because what I'd like to see is actually what's called the Capital Non-Reoccurring Fund, and you guys actually had that at one point, where the Board of Finance and the town votes that we give, I'll just say arbitrary number, $500,000 to the Capital Improvement Fund. And then you have that group that determines where that money goes. And that, to me, is the right way to do it, because then you have a group of people that are specialized in it. And I believe at the start of the plan, I could be wrong, but you're going to invest in getting a true assessment of all the properties. And we're also at a fantastic point because we just paid off one of our debt service. We're down to one loan. So now is the perfect time to not piecemeal things, guys. Get a big plan together. Like, where do you really want to see the town of Plainfield in 20 years? Do you want the school systems together in one place? Where do you want this? I think we need to have a macro plan first and then whittle back down. So, yes, it's great to have, and I'm not saying pilled away by any shape of imagination. And when we actually get to the fund balance, I hope that you see that I'm trying to invest in the town and work with the people here. And I think we can do a combination of things, of both capital as well as mill rate, in addition to being transparent. And I think that's what we all want. And so I think we have to have that master plan first. You're welcome.
Lisa, are you aware of an issue this morning at the rec center with the heating system?
Beth came into my office around 2 saying that it was cold, that's because the heat wasn't on all weekend. She goes, the heaters just hadn't had a chance to catch up. That's all she said to me. She didn't say there was a problem, just that the heaters didn't get a chance to catch up. So no one came in. Did we lose power this weekend too? Yeah, so that could be why too. You know, if there was no power, so maybe something had tripped. But I have not heard directly. Kevin, did you hear any? Yeah, the only thing is she just said that the heaters didn't have a chance to run.
I hope they're not shutting the heating system off and they're trying to save money, because that could cost us a lot of money again. Is somebody checking on that building during the weekends at all?
No.
No town staff goes and checks on that building?
No, anything like that would require us to actually pay overtime for somebody to
Is
go.
there a temperature monitor in that building?
No.
That calls if there's a temperature problem?
No.
Well, maybe that's something
That's
we use
something
with
we should
electronic
look into,
guards.
especially coming this weekend. We got really cold weather coming. If we lose power to that building, somebody should be checking on that building. I mean, this could cost us a lot of money in the end if we don't take care of this stuff.
I just turned mine off, but it worked.
So we have three mics next to each other as well, huh?
So those are the financials from the general government.
Do we want to go through the regular financial statement as we would? Like page by page?
We can do it quickly if you want.
Or just approve as presented, or ask if there's questions.
Can you explain, on account 5640, it's other local, for local revenues, what is that?
Just other local, most of it comes through the town clerk.
Okay, so with the new software, we'll be able to drill down into that and see what perhaps that is?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Right before property taxes.
While we're looking at it, I just wanted to say, I absolutely loved the different reports you put together for us, especially the monthly year-over-year comparison with the dollars, percentage. You can really drill into the exact month and what's different than it was the year prior. That was really helpful, and especially will be for board members.
So senior program, no budget, but we've spent almost $61,000.
Other way around. That's revenue. It's a new line item that I put in the budgeted overview. My department and the rec department sat together Tuesday, last Monday. It was like 4 hours, and we went through everything. Like, where is the revenue going? Where are the expenses going? Where are the salaries? We did an overhaul. And so what I said to make it more transparent was to separate the rec revenue and the senior revenue, because I want to try to treat it as 2 separate departments, even though it's one department head, where, you know, general fund covers the seniors and the pool, and the rec is separate, and that's why you now have a rec revenue and expense statement as well.
Highway contract services, that would be plowed.
Where are you in the highway
Highway
department?
department contract
That's
services?
probably going to be the uniforms that I addressed last month. There's the duplication.
Can we change the designation of that to uniform contract services? So it's pretty clear what it is?
Well, there might be more than that.
Oh, okay.
There could be other contracted services in there, but uniform is the main one. You know, any kind of IT that they might have, you know. If you want a separate line item just for that one item, we can, especially with new software, we have the capability of creating like a whole chart
Hold
account.
on and see what that software looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. When you go to, I think it's planning because it's with the page, at the bottom it says affordable. What is that?
It's that affordable housing, Kevin, it's 15,000, it's in planning,
Is that the new state mandate?
top of page 5, last slide, in planning. I honestly don't know, it was budgeted 15. There's no expenses to it, months today, years today.
Off of page 5.
It's the last line item on planning.
Planning says affordable housing.
Is that what it is?
It just says affordable.
Yeah, okay.
It's affordable housing.
And what would we use that for, Kevin, if you don't mind?
Good question, but I get you that answer.
Thank you, Jennifer. Rec center, the custodian was reduced to part-time, is that correct?
Yes, that was like 3 meetings ago, so
Yes.
that would be a line item transfer.
Okay.
The rec custodian went to part-time, and I think one of the coordinators before went to full-time.
Oh, okay. So we're going to actually be moving some of that budgeted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there published, I'm assuming there must be, names for department heads and salary ranges, but that's available to the public?
You're talking about every department head?
Department head, rec department, highway department, not necessarily names, but positions with,
If it's in a union contract, yes,
okay.
absolutely. If it's recreation, we have designations for, I think there's the 3 full-time that we have right now. But I can get you the names for those if you want.
And those are union or
No,
non-union?
recreation is non-union.
Non-union, okay.
What's the parking here? What's that? For the rec department, Lisa? On page 6.
Park and fields is budgeted at 10,000, coming in at 4, I would imagine, like the parks next door. Is that what it would be, like where the tree lighting is?
Maintaining all of the park, like the Little League fields or any other parks that we have, we maintain. So sometimes Little League will ask us for some sand or some clay. We allocate that also for maintaining.
Do we have like a list of those parks and which fields and like?
I can get that from the rec scene.
Is there like a breakdown of that too? Like
I can get that from the department head.
Great, thank you.
It'd be nice to see what they're spending on each park.
Yeah, I would like to see that, if that's possible.
Because I understand there's some issues in the Regan Park, swing set, playscape.
There's always problems over there. Yeah. We're looking for a total replacement eventually. Problem with the recreation for any swing set or recreational playscape area is they're very expensive.
We're replacing ours at work now.
And we just gave one away.
But that was not usable. We gave that to someone who could use it. After a while, the parts wear down. Usually it's the links that break. So the replacement parts for that are difficult to get, and then also, or fabricate and put that together.
There's more, I don't know if it's still there, I don't know that, so I can be speaking out of it. Do we also have playground equipment in front of the ECC building, is that still there?
That's still there.
Now, is that also going to be something we can't utilize or could we utilize?
I we use that in to look at what was movable and what was not movable. Who do you want me touching that?
You take it, I'll grab another one.
We'll get them all buzzing.
When we moved out of the ECC 2 years ago, we took a look at all the playground equipment in front of the ECC. Much of that is heavily cemented in for safety,
and we moved everything that we felt could safely be moved. We actually attempted to move a gazebo and weren't able to do it. I think people forget a little bit that the work that was done on that was done around year 2000, and that wasn't yesterday. So a lot of the equipment that's there would need to be heavily dug out or drilled out, so it's not something we could move. If we could have moved it, we would have moved it to Shepherd Hill.
Now I can add on to that. There was a church that wanted to purchase.
So there is a church that wanted to purchase that item, and I said, we'd have to write something up so that it would be, we're not held harmless in case you wanted to take it out of there, because it is heavily cemented in. And it wouldn't be for a lot of money, but they would be the ones responsible and also hold harmless to anything that happens. So if anybody else is interested, let us know, but there was one church that wanted to do that.
Well, I was just questioning it, maybe don't have like a parking lot or something.
And that park obviously has a need for upgrade of their playground area, but it's something that we wouldn't do from moving that material over. It's a lot of work.
And safety. Thank you both.
Boards and commissions, those expenses and budgets are stipends, legal requirements, postings for public? Stipends?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly the secretaries, right?
Exactly. So you would normally have your secretary here tonight. They get paid $100 a session. There are some that get paid more. For those that are on P&Z, like this last meeting, they'll get paid a little more based on the length of the meeting.
Another question that I have is, we budgeted somewhere around $16,000 in this budget for the Meals on Wheels, and then we're told that we weren't going to be part of that program for the seniors. Where is that money?
We are on Meals on Wheels.
We are.
Yes. Every Friday they get 5 frozen meals, and then we have volunteers that actually drive them to the people who need them. I can precursor next year, we're looking to not do that, and not by way of not serving these people, but serving them fresh food. Because while it's frozen, it's okay. We're talking about people who have a hard time getting around and walking or remembering what to do properly. I think the fresh foods might be much better. So we'll be addressing that issue. So yes, we are doing it this year. It is $16,000.
Okay.
I just don't have an invoice.
So what,
The last
grant was it done, or is the cost gone up to
Transportation was an issue.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Town contributions, when will we be making those donations? Project Plan, Memorial Day, Memorial Day.
I would expect that you normally wait till the end of the year to make sure that you have the funds available to donate that.
Well, they wouldn't.
Well, we have Project Pin there, is that correct?
Yeah.
We have Project Pin we'll have to do right away. So that if it hasn't been done already, we'll get that right away. I think we just did that, so it hasn't been processed yet.
All right.
The other one is has to do with Memorial Day. We purchased all the flags, put them out for that day. If we have some left over, like last year, where it says under flags, we didn't put anything in this year because we had enough flags to cover for this year. We were making our cuts last year. So we're going to institute that again for next year, but yeah, that's what that was for.
Department of Health, how is that working out? Are you possibly to find a new program?
They've actually, and I think it's, for those who remember from a few years ago, we had a problem with the Department of Health. I was looking to go instead with another group. Since that conversation I've had recently with Luigi, who runs the Department of Health, things have been working out very well. It still doesn't mean that we're getting the top shelf service. In other words, you want to have all of your restaurants checked out on a regular basis, and I say only a third are. But I think that's a similar number to what you'll see down south. Having no problem getting staffing, no matter where you are, to go out and get certified, and then be part of the group that goes out to do certifications.
Are we looking at another increase from them this year?
Actually, I think we're pretty
It's
close.
very minimal. It's very close. It's very minimal.
Yeah.
We did receive their forecast for their budget for us next year already. Yeah, it was
For all of
very
those purchase services, we've been starting to get a lot of letters coming in. I think we're still waiting for QB 911, but other than that, I think pretty much everybody else has come in very close to what we had for last year.
With NECOG and the HR person, how is that working out?
Actually, very well. Very well. That person has come in. We met with Virginia for a few sessions now. They've had people coming in yet. So Virginia Oliver's done a great job for us. So it's very, very good, beneficial.
Now, does she have her own office in this building?
Yes.
Whereabouts is that located?
Right across from where Lisa has her desk and we come into my office. It was an empty office.
The one with the sliding window?
Yes.
So she's really got no privacy?
We're working on all
How
of
does that work?
She's got a table and 2 chairs in there.
Yeah, but still got a glass window.
Yep. And we're getting a noise machine so she can have more privacy with the clientele.
Okay, yeah, because
And the door
there
closed.
should be privacy for anybody who wants to come talk to her
Right.
about issues.
Yep.
And she's good with the union contracts. We have so many union contracts, and every union contract has different parameters, you know, between when everyone's holiday pay is, when they get their vacation time. You know, everyone is different, so it's nice having a union source personnel.
She's putting together an employee handbook. She's going to be doing training for FMLA for all departments. She's going to do some other training as well, and she's keeping up to where every single group may have certain trainings they have to do, like the highway group, they have to do flagging lessons, or other things for OSHA 10, things like that. She's keeping up with that, so we have those on schedule.
What about the telephones for the capital that, you know, for 35,000, what the status, what's up with all of that? I mean,
I believe that was expensed in full. That was purchased. Telephone capital, 34,972 was the budget, came in at 34,97163. Is that what you're referring to, Naomi?
yeah.
All right, so that's
I know
done.
it was put into the capital this past season for 35,000, but it was kind of confusing, like what we were actually using that for. I know there was a contract, and there were new phones, and then they needed equipment.
There's multiple issues. The first one was the old equipment was outdated and it had no, Windows 10 is no longer serviceable. Same thing with the old phones. You had an issue where if there was a problem, you didn't get any service and you're stuck. So now how do you call in, you're out of the police station or for the town hall. So we decided to go to a new company. The numbers that they gave us weren't quite accurate, but it was for the purchase of the actual phone, $35,000. Then there was also, you have a Cisco license, which we were told we'd have to do every year. So those are things that are, above and beyond. But we're getting a hold of what the numbers are this time. So when next year's budget comes up, we'll have those numbers.
So we're thinking about it for every year.
Yeah.
We know what this point is.
Because of what it does. A license for Cisco, for those who have a Cisco phone, you have multiple functions which are helpful. You have obviously a voicemail. You also have it so that voicemail would then roll over to your email. So those things are added on features that we didn't have in years past.
Do we have any idea roughly what that's going to cost per year, or?
We're still waiting for the final numbers to come in.
I'm sure this has been addressed previously, but I'm going to ask the questions again. Fund balance, truck lease payment, police SUV, Tahoe, assessor's vehicle. Why aren't these just budgeted line items? Why are they fund balance? Are these new leases?
With capital items.
Capital
They're
items?
capital items. And so there's a couple ways you can do capital. You can either do it as pay-as-you-go or the capital non-recurring, which is what I was talking about before. So this is a pay-as-you-go method. This is saying, hey, we're going to use part of the fund balance. When you have an over fund balance, you can either use it for capital or you can offset the mill rate or do both. And that's what they said last year was voted on, to take capital items and use it out of the fund balance.
Can this be moved to a budgeted line item?
No, because it's not a true expense. It's not a year-over-year expense. An assessor's vehicle is a purchase of a new vehicle that was
Oh, it's a totally
$21,000.
new vehicle.
It's a brand-new
Oh, okay.
vehicle that got
Okay.
purchased.
All right. What about the truck lease payment?
That is a third payment of the asset. That's what we were talking about
Okay.
earlier,
Yep.
so that's a new truck.
Okay.
Same with the
And we own
SUV.
these, so they'll
We
come
own
off
these.
for next year?
Yes, it won't be
Okay.
on.
All right.
Exactly. It's not a reoccurring
Got
cost.
it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are they gonna need another truck this year? Highway truck?
I don't know, I didn't hear that. It's not part of our plan at the current day.
As of right now, no.
How are the police terminals coming? Any word on that yet?
I can get you an update, but I thought they were all in.
I don't have the invoice yet, but this is as of December 31st.
And is that reevaluation, is that precursor to the hell that will be brought on us with our taxes?
Yeah, it's accrued every single year until it goes up in the revaluation. This is a standard thing. So what happened at the end of the year, I'll accrue the expense. I mean, I can do it now if you want me to.
I would think that it might be more transparent if we did it month over month, no?
Well, no, because it's only done every 5 years.
No, I recognize that, so you're gonna take a fifth? I'm not following what you're saying.
It's a contract that we have with Econ, so then you break it up into a 5-year.
Okay, so this $36,000 that's budgeted for this year
1 year.
only, and you make a one-time payment for it?
If we're billed that way, this is new with NECOG. Typically, you would accrue it and you get billed once every 5 years. But I think with NECOG, is they're changing everything over to do the regionalization with all the towns that will get billed from NECOG and they'll end up holding it.
Okay.
I also have a question. So when projects are being done in our town, such as the piping at the highway department, our police evidence building, any of the projects, is it up to the department heads to be overseeing these projects or reporting to the selectmen? Is it up to the selectmen to be keeping tabs on what the progression of these projects are to make sure, like, if there's more expenditures or something arises? How is this handled?
I would think the department head, but
Okay, it's oversight by the department. If they're the ones putting it into the 5-year capital to have it done, like we'll use the highway fixing the sewer issue. It's up to them to be able to say, okay, we think everything's okay. We work together with the other departments. So the town building inspector will go to take a look and verify everything's okay. So the building inspector, we might have the engineer go out to make sure that it aligns properly to the specs that they put together. So we work together properly, but it should be the department head making sure it's
And
set.
you know, at any point, like, there's no, like, I don't know, calendar or any kind of reporting back to you to make sure, like, that they're staying on top of these projects and they're not just sitting idly, or?
No, it's part of that RFP. You want to have them done and bid on and taken care of by whoever wins that bid.
Okay. So the Board of Finance should, at this point, if we have questions on any of the projects, as volunteers, we can go to the different department heads and ask about this?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
is that how you want it done? Usually, like, go for you.
Well, if you wanted to talk to the department head about what's going on with a particular building, if you want to talk to them about other things, I think it's okay, but you know, we can always answer what we can for you now. Or
It might be easier for you guys to have one focal person. I don't care if it's me, Kevin, whatever makes it
Because
easier.
I asked at the last meeting where the police evidence building is at, because there was money allocated to that building
Right.
in the capital. So I would like to know, like, sometimes where these projects are.
Okay.
And Kevin basically had stated to speak to Mario, the chief, about it. So I kind of want to know how is the working relationship. Do we approach chief? Do we ask the chair to request him here? Do you do it, Kevin? What's the chain of command and how is this kept organized?
well, I think like to her point would be instead of 7 people or 8 people going to talk to the chief, funnel it through us here and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. And actually, Chief and I work very well together. It's been a great communication. You know, I call him questions, he calls me, and we just work it through. We're two adults, both working to do the same thing.
I wasn't just stating that she was, I mean, any of the
Just anybody, yeah, no, but if you filter it through me, then I can be the one responsible to get back to you. Since I'm gonna be the one here every month anyway, it makes sense.
But we'll be able to ask that department head be present at a meeting if there are very specific questions.
Yeah, of
Down
course.
the site.
Of course. I believe there's actually one meeting even Stephanie has on for all the department heads
Yep.
to come anyway.
Well, that's for the budget.
Yeah, for the budget, but just even in general, of course.
I know we've had the record budget here, so.
Yeah, quarterly they.
'Cause,
recreation fund revenue, there were no budgets because the revenue was unknown.
It wasn't budgeted, it was put in the general government budget.
Oh, this is what was moved. This
Yep, that's
piece
what was moved. So if you look
Okay.
at revenue, what they did is they grouped together senior and rec revenue, and so I separated it out. It was budgeted at 105, and so far rec revenue is at 62, and the senior at 60 for in here, and then there wasn't a separate fund, the rec fund wasn't budgeted at all. So at least we can start to track it so we can create something moving forward. The idea of any rec fund, guys, is to try to make it self-sustaining. We want to, usually the general government will pay for the director and maybe an assistant or two. It's a little different here because of the pool, you have to pay for the pool. But ideally, the rec department should be paying for itself, for its programs. And what we want to do is track what programs are making money, what programs are losing money, so we can adjust accordingly, whether she needs to raise her prices, whether she needs to suspend a program, or add another pitch, you know, whatever it may be, so she can speak intelligently of what her direction for her department may be, and then try to take on more of those items, because there should be less of the taxpayer dollars paying for it, and more of the actual programs that are being serviced to pay for themselves. And so we're trying to do step one towards that.
So hypothetically speaking, if there is a net surplus at the end of the year,
Yeah.
where does that go?
It actually sits in that fund. It doesn't come back because it's the rec fund, but we can utilize it to offset an expense in the general government.
Last year, that was very healthy, and I think we brought some of that money back, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can. You absolutely can, because the rec department's under its purview.
And who has access to that fund account? You?
It's typical sign-off, two people signing off on the invoice, goes through the check request. The check request would usually come from the rec department, and then the checks are signed on by Kevin, and typically another select person, and I'm the backup.
I'll make a motion to accept the town's financial report as presented.
All in favor?
Thank you, guys. It'll get easier every month.
Stop asking questions.
You can ask.
No, we won't.
Just ask me.
I might not know the answer, so I'll find out. The next item would be to discuss and act upon the financial report as presented by the Board of Education. So Peter, can you like the... Okay.
That can spray.
All right, so in your financial packet, there's a couple of things. First being for the audit, which is on the agenda later, so I'll skip that for now. For fiscal year 2026, there are 3 areas actually that we want to discuss tonight. 2 areas that I will be reviewing with you, and then 1 area both Mr. Renton and I will review with you. The first one being the object code for 100, which is our salaries. Just letting you know, we currently still have vacant positions for certified teachers and non-certified staff, which are paraeducators. So that could result in salary accounts being under budget. But this is an area we keep a very close eye on, and either we are hiring or not hiring, and if we need to use those funds for another area that is over budget, which again we will discuss in a couple of minutes. The other object code that I want to draw your attention to is 560, which is our tuition account code. This is an area that I bring up at pretty much every meeting because this is an area that is ever changing. So we've had multiple changes to our out-of-district placements for special education students, and we've had the excess cost grant reimbursement come in lower than what we budgeted. That could change after the March 1st submission and after the state recalculates, but at this point right now, this is the first time that we are considered over budget in this account code, so it's over budget by $50,127.14. Largely because we budgeted to get for excess cost grant reimbursement $500,000, and we're projecting to get $442,000. Is there any questions on that? I see. Okay, not yet. Okay.
The third account code that we want to draw your attention to is our health insurance account code, which is object code 210. This is also an area that is ever changing because we are self-funded. So I will discuss that when we get to the e-check report. For the 2% set-aside account, last month you guys did approve to fully expend these funds. I did just forward that updated quote to the two members. So I'm sorry you did not receive that in December. That will fully expend that 2% set-aside account for after that invoice is made. For our grant report, there's no changes to report at this time. The latest grant that we did submit for is our Perkins grant, and that grant was submitted on time, and we are just waiting to hear back from the state on the approval of that grant. For our facilities report, I do want to let you know for actually that Shepherd Hill heating unit that you did approve to use our 2% set-aside. Work has not begun, but the project has been scheduled. So we submitted our purchase order to New England Mechanical. They have ordered the part, and they are working with our facilities director on getting that scheduled as soon as everything is in on time.
How are we maintaining the heat in that area at this point?
I haven't received any update as far as it being less than our expected temperature.
So we have meetings with our facilities team and the principal about ways we can circulate air through that area. We can keep the doors open, kind of pumping air from other areas. Temperature is a little lower than we'd like it to be, but it's not in the neighborhood of what you experience at the senior center right now. One of the things that we have for advantage is the large number of individuals coming into that area to actually help contribute to maintaining the temperature. But it still needs to be done, and we're really mostly waiting on a part right now. So people are talking about whether it's largely getting the part in to have those pieces, and that's just the unfortunate situation anytime you have old equipment.
Yeah. My concern is basically if you can keep that building until, I mean, like I said, we got really bad weather from this weekend. And we're all going to maintain that area because there's no heating system working in that area.
It's partial.
It's partial? Okay. So we have 50% of the system.
It's not. I don't want to speculate a number, say it publicly, but I can tell you that we have it partially working, and we have solutions that we're doing, but it's not a sustainable solution. And when you overtax another part of a piece of equipment, you're not doing a good thing.
Is that building checked on over the weekend?
So we're in a little different situation because our buildings get a lot of use over the weekends. But we're in the same situation with overtime. So when it snows heavily on Martin Luther King Day.
Yep, I understand. I'm just concerned with the building freezing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, as of right now, especially with the storm that we just received this past weekend, all the custodians that were on campus doing snow removal, that is double time according to union contract. So just like at the town side, we are keeping a close eye on overtime. At this point, we are not projecting to be over, but that can change with the snowstorm next weekend or continuing to snow on inopportune days.
So I think at this point, I'll take over and talk about health insurance. It is actually the reason why I'm here. Before I talk deeply about health insurance, I did just want to take this opportunity. I apologize that I do this occasionally, but Plainfield High School theater and music and band has been working very hard with the town of Plainfield, Daughters of the American Revolution, and the Plainfield 250 committee, which is celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country this year. On Saturday, January 31st, to kick off the town's celebration, there is a free concert open to the community at Plainfield High School that our band and music department has put together. They've worked very hard on this with the Daughters of the American Revolution and the committee. We've had a lot of students who have been very involved this year. You'll see more and more things being pushed out on Plainfield residents and Facebook, but I just want to let the community know that there's a free concert to kick off the 250th anniversary of our country that our students and staff have put together special. It's not something that they've ever done before. It was something the Daughters of the American Revolution approached Plainfield schools with, and our team was happy to partner with them. So I just wanted to mention that I'll be sending out flyers to the Board of Finance, and also it's at 6 o'clock p.m. at the high school.
Can you state the date again?
It's at 4 o'clock p.m. Thank you so much, Mr. Sunshine. 6 Saturday the 31st. Second thing I just wanted to mention to members of the Board of Finance is that next Wednesday, the 28th, we received an invitation. That's our special meeting for me to present our budget to the Board of Education. That's at Plainfield High School. That is at 6 p.m. The 28th. So I just want to mention those two things. 6 p.m. on the 28th. The reason why I'm here today is I wanted to come early just to tell you where forecasting is looking and just give you these pieces. We are not in a urgent situation yet, but if I were here 3 months from now and we were in an urgent situation, I would feel bad if I didn't come. So let's talk a little bit about what being self-insured means. Being self-insured for both the town and the school system means that we maintain a reserve. We've actually done this for over a decade. That is a reserve approximately between 2 and 4 months of what our insurance costs are for all of our insurance plans. We build that up every year. We get 2 different predictions of what we need to fund that at. We use that to build our budget. Last year at this time in January, they actually told us we could reduce what we were contributing. We went back and checked those pieces. Those forecasts have proven to be horribly wrong. What I've given you is a chart. At the top of it, you'll see dark blue and light blue. In a healthy year, you're looking for that dark blue section, that dark blue of high claimants to be approximately 25% of your pie chart, meaning that you're looking for 25% of your claims to be the high cost claimants, what they actually call catastrophic claims. That's the insurance industry word, not my word. For those pieces, as you can see right now, Plainfield Schools is trending over 50% in those pieces. Now, I have to be very delicate when I talk about this because we want all of our employees to have health insurance. We want them to have coverage. We also need to be sure that we're maintaining a healthy reserve. When you have high claimants, our insurance actually carries insurance on it. It's called stop loss insurance. So if a claim goes over a certain point, we will get some of that money from our insurance back. At this time, for the first time in my 5 years here, based on a $1.2 billion month in the month of December in claims, we've fallen below the 2 months. And I spoke to my board about this in our board meeting, and prior to the presentation of the budget, we're actually making budget adjustments to this year's budget, even though we have a few $100,000 coming back in stop loss on that $1.2 million. We're making changes to make extra contributions to our health insurance this year to try to be fiscally responsible and maintain that reserve. This is an atypical year. However, the challenge we're going to face with this it died. Oh, I got it back. Just needs a little wiggle. This is an atypical year. We have never seen a year like this. However, this year will impact the rates at which we get quoted for next year, coming years, as we now have a higher percentage of high claims. We have some projected numbers already. We have reached out with the town. We made the town aware of this immediately. The moment those claims came in, we had a meeting. I really appreciate the town being part of those meetings. We brought in USI, we brought in our adjusters, we brought in eChip to take a look at all of those. We have a strategy that I'm presenting to my Board of Education on the 28th moving forward. But I do want to let the Board of Finance know that of my budget increase next year, right now, half of it is insurance costs. The second part of this, which is the section that's highlighted, is I want to let you know this is not a unique to Plainfield problem. What you see there that I've highlighted is where we are over the projected budget. That's the budget that we were told to project by the people that we paid to tell us what to project. That's where we are above that. However, look at 4 other municipalities in our region and where they are over their projected budgets. We're all seeing increased drug costs. With a population that's accessing more health care, we're seeing people access more health care. So I wanted to make the Board of Finance aware early. Because as they say in finance, nobody likes surprises that are not present. I didn't want this to be a surprise if I was talking to the Board of Finance more about it in the future months. So I wanted to make you aware of the trend now. I'm going to hold it with this wet wipe pen. I wanted to make the Board of Finance aware now. It felt like the right thing to do. I made the Board of Ed aware. And we'll be keeping you updated on our progress on what we do.
Thank you.
This is, if there's a question of is there anything you can do to control this, we really can't. You can't predict this. We can forecast numbers into next year that help account for this. And we and the town are both reviewing options for next year. You sure?
Who did the projections?
So two different groups actually did the report, both ECHIP and USI. However, all it takes is for we have one claimant, without giving too much information, that's $758,000. Because we have another claimant who's $400,000. So all it takes is someone on your plan to have a catastrophic injury, and you are the insurance company.
So we're working on things to address this, you don't really have a decided thing yet and how.
I don't want to give the board, so I'm always cautious. So remember, I'm the one employee of the Board of Ed. I always am cautious to not give the Board of Finance my solution before I give the Board of Ed my solution. It's the one thing that could get me in real trouble. It's not the one thing. I'm sure there's other things I can do with that one.
But you do have something in mind, we're planning on proposing to the Board of Education and then.
Yeah, we currently are working with our insurance broker to look at all of our options.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to go over?
Nope, unless there's any specific questions, those are the areas that we are just aware of that we're keeping a close eye on.
And with the Board of Finance, could they come back to their goal?
Thank you. I just want to note in your in the report that I did give you, the ECHIP report that has the green highlights. The reason that we report out technically a month later is because we don't get the banking and the claims reports until the 10th to the 15th of the month. So given our Board of Education meeting being on the second Wednesday of the month, we always have to wait for all of the reports to come in to reconcile with the bank. So in the month of January, we are reporting November's claims. Obviously, as Mr. Benton said, we have received some information regarding December, which is why the urgency and why the start of the conversation now. But you will get the December full banking reconciled report in your next Board of Finance meeting.
Well, we can only hope that whatever expenditures are made are sufficient to allow these individuals to return to optimal health.
Absolutely.
All the other schools going on the heating systems, I see you have one in here for Central Middle Schools, you have a repair going on?
Yeah, so that is an area that Mr. Falkadowski is really on top of, because like you've heard from the senior center, when we get this cold temperatures, it's just an area that those heating units on the rooftop can be affected a lot more when it's -4 degrees. So there have been some minor repairs. We've not had anything catastrophic. We're the only one on the top of the Shepherd Hill cafeteria unit is needing a full replacement. I will say there are a lot of other areas that we are just having to perform small repairs on, Band-Aids to try to keep everything working and going to keep the heat on without having to do hundreds of thousands of dollars in replacements.
Now, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the town. Is there a system in place that reports to the maintenance facility or anybody in the school district if the heating system is a problem?
There's not. Nope. So all 5 of our school buildings, as Mr. Brenton mentioned, we do have a lot more activity in our buildings on the weekends because we have a lot of our sporting events or coaches in there with practices or outside vendors that come in and use our facilities that we have to contract custodians to be there. But there is no set schedule for a custodian or something to monitor the heating or the temperatures on the weekends, unless we have a scheduled event.
The control system, like I think the high school has a control system, that does not call if there's a temperature drop in the building.
I'm not sure on that. I can definitely talk to Mr. Kadelsky to see what the monitoring, because we do have those systems in place. So there are fire alarm systems that monitor those systems, the burglar alarm systems. So we do have monitoring systems in place. I'm just not sure if any of them monitor the temperature. That I can check on.
There's no more questions. I'd be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the Board of Ed's presentation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you. Thank you. The next line we have is the appointment of Virginia Allen to the bylaw committee. Virginia came to me saying that she would like to be part of this committee, and I think that she would be an excellent addition to it. If there's any discussion on it as a board, we can.
How many do we currently have on there right now?
2 right now.
2.
So this would give us 3.
This will be 3, that doesn't create a quorum, no problem, right?
No.
Okay.
We're good for 3.
Now, if a board member was to attend one of those meetings, would that be a problem?
That's a good question that we should look into.
They're open forums, they have to be.
Right, but if you're having a meeting of a subcommittee and you put one of the other members in that room in the audience, does that create a quorum or a problem?
Kevin, do you have an opinion there?
I believe I can check with the attorney, but as long as they are not participating,
Okay.
that they would be fine.
All right, I just want to make sure before I show up at one of those meetings.
Does the agenda include public comment?
What's that?
Does the agenda include public comment?
Yes.
I would,
I can call the FOIA commission too tomorrow and find out.
yeah. But I would suggest at this time just not to participate as public, because it could be construed as part of the board.
Correct, I don't want to, I want to make sure we don't cause a problem.
Yep.
You bring up. Any other discussion before we move on?
I would actually just hoping to touch on while we have the bylaw. So I want to make sure that if going forward with the bylaw committee, that the Board of Finance members and officers and our finance directors, as well as our selectmen, are going to, once we have this amended and updated, because there are some things in here that are not being followed. So I'm kind of concerned, are we having volunteers meet and amend and spend time doing this, and then it's just going to be kind of thrown in a filing cabinet or in all of our packets, and we're not going to be following what the policy act, the bylaws actually state. So for instance, we're supposed to receive a rough draft of the agenda 5 days before our meetings, our packets. We're supposed to have the Friday before, no later than Monday or 5 days prior. So I just want to make sure that the things we're actually having in here, that when we review these, once they're amended, that these are going to be, taken into consideration. I know there was also kind of a footnote in the email from you, Lisa, that going over policies, fund account policy, we're going to have that added in here. So just want to make sure that.
But it sent out first and then it was right?
What's that?
My packet sent out first and then it was everyone on there.
Right, but I didn't.
Unfortunately, you
Right.
and Virginia used.
Right, so I just want to make sure we're going to be following that, and that everyone's going to be working with it. So that was one of my concerns. That's it.
Any other discussion? So you would just appoint, or we said it's not an action. Okay, so now would be the finance director presentation and discussion. Potential
When you do,
You didn't appoint.
Virginia Allen, or you just?
No, it was just an appointment.
Okay, so you're appointing her
Yeah.
as the chair?
No, not as the chair, just as a member on our bylaw committee.
Acting as the chair, what is that? Acting as the
As the
chair,
chair.
you're doing.
Oh, acting, yes, exactly.
How did you put the other two people on?
Yep, just like that, appoint.
Okay.
Yep,
So you as the chairman of the Board of Finance is also not appointed to the town at this point?
exactly, yes. Thank you. Okay, now for the finance director presentation.
Do you mind if I add that, Mike?
Yeah,
You don't want to adjourn? What kind of one with
It's
adjourn?
all good. So this is the point where I have a target on my back, because everyone's been talking about this for over a year. So what I want to do is, how this whole thing became evolved is that when I was around, I used to writing financial policies for a town. It's more than just fund balance, it's debt service, it's capital management. There's a whole plethora of them that most towns do apart. And I figured with starting the new bylaw committee, to kind of like roll things hand in hand. So that's what started that. In addition, I've gone to 2 or 3 meetings and everyone keeps talking about that 1.2 million. So I'm like, I think it's important for us all to understand what fund balance is, what existing policies are in place, as well as what I'm recommending, and whether you act on it or not, I mean, that's up to you guys. But I do hear wholeheartedly about the capital and reducing mill rate. But let's first talk about what fund balance is and the research and what you already have in the town. So this is an example of what I'm trying to do, is create a template for financial policies. It has the logo, it has the name, the purpose, the scope, and the objective. So this would just be a simple template that we would use for all the financial policies. And I gave you guys a listing of that. We can go through this in a minute, but I wanted to address what Tom mentioned earlier about incorporating the past policies. So in this policy, there's 2 appendices. One is the first fund balance policy that was adopted in 2012, recommending an 8% reserve. And then Appendix B was the last one that I could find from 2018, recommending a 10% reserve. So, yes, we did use history. We aren't recreating the wheel, and the verbiage here is almost identical. Okay? So we took the 2 appendices, and we added it to the new outline, so to speak, and, with the graph, and I increased the percentage to 15 to 20. And that's primarily the only difference. And now I want to explain why I was doing that. But I do hear what you were saying, that this was not just something that we decided to recreate. It was looked up. And your current policy that we could find, and both Sean was great, the town clerk was great, Stephanie was great. We all tried to find another one because we thought it was talked about, but it was never passed before. 2012 was the only policy we could find in the town clerk, and 2018 was from Board of Finance minutes. So that's where we have. So
Now, the 2018 wasn't.
it wasn't recorded in the town
In
clerk.
the clerk's office.
Right.
All we found it
Was approved in minutes.
included minutes. So is that
It was in the minutes as approved. So that's how we have it. Like, see the top one? You can actually see the signature of the town clerk. Where this next one, it doesn't. It just says revised at Board of Finance on the date.
So is that legal at this point?
According to the town clerk, because she thought it was fine.
Okay,
Because we voted on it, so it was an action item.
okay, just making sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's why we're bringing this forward to the discussion. So, history is there. So, as I'm doing this, as I try to get this set up if I can find it, what do you guys think, what is fund balance? Before I even try to open up, what do you guys think fund balance is? Anyone? Have you guys ever heard of the rainy day fund? Like, have you heard the state terminology use that? It's, in essence, your savings account. And so what it is municipalities, since taxation brings some money in additional local revenue, but usually about 75% is from taxation. It's your money that you're giving to the town to invest for you. So what happens is, unlike your own house, you can say, the more money we save, the better. They're saying no. GFOA, Governmental Fine Officers Association, says it should be about 3 months, 16.67%. And so the policy I'm presenting is between 15 and 20%. That's still higher than other towns. Now, if I can find the actual program, because I actually had it up earlier, but of course, because we're here, it's not going to come up as quickly. There we go. So, understanding fund balance for Connecticut municipalities. I don't have a clicker, so I'm sorry, guys. And I'll go, I know it's kind of late, but this is just an overview, okay? And this was also at the town clerk. So what is fund balance policy? A fund balance policy is a guideline for municipalities to strategize and manage their financial reserves, okay? It's to make sure that your money is used to good causes. We're not overspending, we're not underspending, okay? And it's setting that percentage. So it's percentage of your expenses. So going back to that 3-month rule, or 16.67. Remember, your current policy is only 10%. That's your current policy. There's 3 pillars: financial stability, creditworthiness, tax stability. I can go into any of this if you like. Working capital management, gaps between revenue and expenses when they come in. Sometimes we have to apply for a grant, we have to get the money up front before we actually get the money funded. We want to make sure we have enough money to do that. We don't want to lose a grant because we don't have the $15,000 to pay for it before. Emergency financial cushion. What if an emergency comes up, like you guys were saying before? What if we did have a massive water break or something, not just anything hypothetical? We want to make sure that we have that. Credit rating protection. This is a great thing. You guys are currently in AA3. And if we especially could get together a bigger plan of what we want to do with the town and we want to go to bond, we want to make sure we have the perfect fund balance. We want to show that we have credit worthiness by having the exact amount. Not a 10%, not a 30%, whatever they recommend, which is the GFOA 15 to 20. So, fund balance standards. GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, estimates comprehensive standards fund balance 17 to 20%. We've heard that before. You can look this up in this presentation, or if you're on your phones, look up from the state or federal guidelines for municipalities and you'll find the same thing. It gives financial stability and operational continuity, strong credit rating, I don't want to get in the way of anybody, protection against economic uncertainties, and strategic financial planning and flexibility. That's GFOA standards, state standards, and also national standards. Credit rating downgrades. We are very fortunate, we are not in the other way around. We do not have a below 7%, okay? And we never want to be there. So that's the part about working together and making sure we're transparent, having a fund balance policy that works for our town that we can all agree upon. Okay? Now this is probably the point where people are like, what do we do? The core problem with excessive funds is according to GFOA, if you have more than 20%, you're hoarding the money. So we're taxing you, taking your money, and it's in the town's bank account, but it's your money. So at what point do you say enough's enough? And that's what part of this policy is about as well. What is considered a safe, stable reserve? What's considered excess and what's considered too low? So we want to try to find that balance, and that's the purpose of why I'm here today. Okay? Now when you do have an excess, and this is all from GFOA, if you're over 20%, it's an unfair burden to taxpayers. We're holding their money unnecessarily, and there's missed opportunities. If we're holding money, we can't do that capital plan. Or if we're holding money, we can't reduce the mill rate. And those are 2 things that you absolutely can do legally. Okay? So the optimal range, GFOA is saying between 17 to 20%. That's extremely healthy, guys, and we are very lucky that we can be within this. Moving investors recognize 15 to 20% as a key indicator for creditworthiness. The National Advisory Council on State and Local Budgeting does, and Connecticut municipalities with 15 to 20% reserves consistently remain a AA rating or higher. Here's an example, Norwich, next door, and so most towns you can actually look up what their fund balance policy is. It is a standard policy that most towns have. And it should be listed, in my opinion, separately. That's what I'm having all the financial policies right there in one scoop so you can find it. Like, we shouldn't be looking like we did to try to find it. Norwich, Target, they do 15 to 18%. Hamden is 10 to 12 with a minimum of 7. West Hartford has a 15 to 20. And that's actually what I'm recommending too. And that's aligned with AAA credit rating objectives, demonstrating financial excellence and long-term objectives. So going back to what most people were saying here earlier, well, what do you do with the excess? It's a combination. It's a combination of capital and offsetting the mill rate. And it's what works best for the town. And that's actually part of why you guys are here. That's part of why I'm here. That's why we're creating that capital strategic planning committee. We all want to do what's best for the town and what's the best way to do it. So you can offset the mill rates, identify excess, strategic allocation, tax relief, transparent communication, fund capital projects. I mean, this is like the same thing over and over again, but this is really what you find when you research municipal fund balances, guys. Best practice, you know, formal written policy, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Trying to start, I'd like to do like maybe one a month, one every other month, but like as you finish one, go to the next one, so we can have a set of financial policies that go along with what we're putting into your Board of Finance policies. Building public trust. I mean, I think that's something that we need to work on, and that's my main goal, guys. Is I want to build that trust. I'm here to support you. You know, we got to do what's best for this town. And final thought is fairness to taxpayers. It's balancing that out. You know, what are your core objectives? Where do we want the town to be in 20 years? How do we get there? We are down to one bond. We want to have the credit rating, and we want to do what? But right now I'm hearing, we want a roof here. We don't know if we want this building here. We don't know this. Stop. Let's breathe. Let's take a step back. Let's get one plan together that we can at least agree on where we want to forward, and at least to have a goal, an objective, and a strategic plan, and then financially work towards it. Not just throwing money to spend money, but just have it as a plan. And also, if we do have, try to balance the taxpayers. I mean, we're all hurting. I get it. You know, no one has money nowadays. So if we can try to keep the tax liability stable, I think that's appropriate too. So it's finding that balance, guys. So taxpayer fairness and equity. So this is just more of to illustrate, you know, what fund balance is and where do you guys want to be, and start coming up with policies. And as I said, I didn't recreate the wheel. I just made it prettier and put a scope and objective on it and increase the percentages.
So now, we've been discussing that they should 3 months.
Yes, that's GFOA standard, 3 months, 16.67%.
My simple mind is saying 3 months is 25%.
16.67 total expenditures.
Thinking a quarter.
Oh, okay.
Quarter of the year. 3 months.
Yeah, 16.67 is what they're, 2 months then, 2 months.
Right.
2 months. Sorry.
Right.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm hearing 3 months. And that's what I was always taught by my grandparents always yelled at me. Make sure you got 3 months put away. And now
The
you're saying
GFOA is
the town's saying
16.67. 16.67 is the general GFOA's recommendation. I haven't seen any fund balance policies which go up to 25, not to say that there's not any out there, not to say that you can't do that either. You know, the policy does say that you may go over, but you shall come up with a plan if you fall under.
So if I could just chime in a little, the GFO does say
For 2 months?
yeah, for 2 months. However, Sean, Connecticut state statute, they operate a little different. They say you cannot be over what your current tax levy amount is. And we're at 31 million, so I don't think we're over that, but we don't want to be that high. So that's, so they don't set, the only cap that's really set for that is statute, and it's the tax levy. So we kind of can set what the cap off is, and it is based on all of what Lisa is presenting from my research, what I mean, and I agree with her on that. 2, definitely 3. I mean, why not? Because the state's saying you can't be over what your tax levy is, but all of the standards of financial accounting say 2 to 3 months. Your thought process on that?
I'm going to make a suggestion. I think that, I realize this is an actionable item, but I'm going to suggest that we table this just to give ourselves some time to really get sink our teeth into the entire policy itself and where we want to go, and lockstep with the bylaws that we're trying to bring up to date.
It's a great first step, just the fact that you're even open to reviewing it, and that was the whole idea. When I talked to Stephanie, I'm like, are you open to coming up with, financial policies? So this would be step one, and this actually would be the way that we would do it through each one. It's like, all right, let's introduce another financial policy, whether it's capital procurement, whether it's debt management, and let's see what other towns have done. Let's see what the government requirements are. Let's see what's out there. What have we done for past practice? And come and work together.
So I know for me, in the research that I've done, I would love for you to look at the town of Sprague's financial structuring.
I have.
Not their finances, how they structure it, just because with their finances depends, but I like their handbook. They don't actually have a policy that they work between their handbooks and statute, but I love Old Save Book. I like their fund account policy. I think it's direct, it's to the point, it's simple, it has the same standard amounts, but without a lot of reporting. So I think it's very transparent to the public as well as their Board of Finance.
Would you prefer that ours was more like Old Sabre? Because what I tried to do was copy what was existing already. Try not recreate the wheel.
I'm just going to tell you from my perspective, I want to see that the Board of Finance maintains as much of its financial authority, and that we have checks and balances. And I want to be very careful with the language, because we've had issues in the past with language in our charter, concerning language and in statute. So I would like to see something that has very direct, very clear language.
Simple, more simplistic?
Yes.
So I can do that, take a look at those samples. I've actually worked with Sprague a lot. They hired me to do a couple things for them.
No, I'm not saying I do everything like Sprague, but their handbook is just top notch.
Okay, that's good.
I think it should be a standard of the Board of Finance handbook.
But that's important, and it's good that you're looking, and that's what I do, is I look at other towns, and we should all look at other towns, and what works best for our town.
I would like to take it up for all shots, if we need more time.
Was there any discussion before we moved to that? Any other questions or anything? To the Board of Selectmen too, and I don't know if they've had a discussion.
Well, they don't set the
They
fund
wouldn't do
balance
it.
after we do it.
This is a Board of Finance financial policy.
Yeah.
Because you would be the one to set the mill rate, you're the ones that would approve it, yeah, it's a financial policy.
Board of Selectmen, they will discuss it at all.
No?
There's no reason you can't have a discussion with the board, some of the board members, the board of selectmen, if you feel you need to. If this is our policy, not theirs. I'm thinking tabling it, just give everybody some more time to mull it over a little bit, and that is also give you an opportunity to look into those other ones that Naomi mentioned, and maybe we can bring it
I
down.
could do like a couple of different types, if you want to look at that.
That would be great.
Would you like that, or all right, I'll keep 15 to 20, but obviously that'll be a discussion point, but I can come up and copy different towns, and then this week you guys can come up with what you think is best. And even if it takes a couple months, the whole idea is that we're talking about it and starting a procedure. None of this is supposed to be
I want to
rushed.
thank you for putting this together and bringing it to us to look at.
Absolutely.
And I think this is, like you said, the starting point. We have to have a discussion. And I think this first one you drafted is a nice starting point and a nice discussion point.
I felt bad, I gave it to Stephanie like 2 weeks ago, and then she's like, oh, send it. I'm like, oh no, is it ready? I'm like, okay.
It's a starting point. And that's what we needed to do. We needed the starting point.
Great, and this is what I like to do for all of them, and as I said, I've got the ones from Summers, I wrote the ones that are in Summers, So that's where I got this from, obviously, to make that
Because
easier.
it may seem like your reference sheet, you had with Holland and put comprehensive. I looked up Holland and I was like, it is extremely comprehensive. So I was like, okay, we're on the same page.
So absolutely, I've come up with a couple different policies, and that's how, and this is fantastic, guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
So if you want to make that motion,
Okay, second. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Thank you, that's communication. Okay, so now the next item would be to receive and this one that says the audit report, but it's actually the audit update from the Board of Ed.
It's simple, they don't have one yet. He told us about 2 weeks. In my last email that you went, he said another 2 weeks for the audit, and that he will probably have to file an extension for the state single audit, which is more the other stuff. And then once the audit is done, then we will do an RFP.
So we're listening to second extension?
No, we haven't even done the first one yet,
We haven't done the first one yet.
even though it's January.
They think we're gonna need to file for extension?
He doesn't think we're gonna need to file for extension for the general ones, but the federal one that was for all the grants, he was thinking that he needed an extension for that. Why? I can't answer that.
And there's 3 of us that continue to email and ask questions all the time. It may take a day or 2 for him to get back to us, but he does, but he continues not to answer the direct question of will be done by the end of the month.
We get emails from him at 11 at night, all on weekends, and and we're still getting requests for backup even this past week.
Can we demand a 3-day period done? That's it. You have until this date. We cannot.
It's
Will
state
that be
statute.
subject to an RFP?
No, that's state statute. State statute has, they have till December 31st, but they can file for an extension. And that is just state law. I mean, and they're also supply and demand. They have a hard time finding people, and maybe sometimes the cheapest isn't always the best too.
For another firm, right?
But I can't do an RFP till I have a budget and audit in hand.
We also have to be very careful because we don't want to push the envelope too far with this because he may get shut down. We want to be able to have at least completion so we can move the RFP for the next round.
And also, in all fairness, it's a small world. They do know a lot of people.
So is there a chance we're gonna have this before we get too deep into the budget?
Yes, I would say 2 weeks. I did get a draft. Kevin and I got a draft to look at, and there were some changes that had to get done.
Any other questions?
If you have a more complete or better answer for this before our next meeting, can you just give us an update and say it's done?
Of course, the minute I get it, I'm sending it to you.
Just want us at ease a little bit, because this is kind of it bothers me that these people aren't following through and doing their job to get it done for us.
It was awful because when I started not even 2 months ago, the stuff that Kelly submitted on like October 1st wasn't even looked at.
Right.
And so it is a shame.
But it makes us look bad as a town for not getting this done on time, in my opinion.
Well, it's a third party, so bond ratings wouldn't, they expect it, they understand it. I mean, you've got all of us, it's not like you've got a laundry list of items that, the general fund wasn't balanced. You don't have those laundry list of items.
No, I think it was done much better this year over last year. With getting it all for the information they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think it's our fault now. I think it's on them for not getting this stuff. They're acting.
Yeah, Courtney and I even met today and just went through matching up.
Yeah.
So I agree, and yes, we full intentions of sending out the minute we get it.
Again, thank you for everything you've been doing on this.
Teamwork.
It's good to see.
No further questions? Okay. So the next item would be the Town Charter, Section 2-5-C, after recommendation by the Town Board of Selectmen and approval and approval by the Board of Finance, any sale or purchase of real estate or interest therein, would be continuing the lease for the cell tower with Crown Castle. If you'd like to present.
I am hoping that the members of the committee were here for the presentation from the town side for what went on with the cell tower and also the ECC building. It was motioned to go forward to bring it to the Board of Finance with the cell tower lease. I did work with, there was one resident, the fire chief from Moosup, who was concerned about what would be able to go onto that cell tower. And those are the 2 whip antennas, and that's in that language, so he's happy with that. The cell tower presentation, I have copies available if you need copies as well, but it's really, we're about to come up at the end of the lease. And it was thought that we could actually modify what we have existing and then also increase the value. So instead of the every 5 years going up 15%, we would actually get more money if we did annually 3%. So that was the main change that we talked about, and I want to continue on with us. So if you are so willing and inclined, just a motion is to go to a town meeting and Board of Selectmen meeting on Monday. We'll pick a date, and I think it's going to be February 19th. So that would be on the 4 questions. That will, by the way, tomorrow night is a presentation of the 4 new proposed ordinances. We'll be discussing those tomorrow night, and then the Board of Selectmen will vote to move forward with that as well as this item on the 19th for a town vote.
So, just from my own knowledge, because I'm not sure how this all works, I understand that they own the tower.
Correct. We own the land, and that's what the lease is all about.
So, is there a chance that there's other cell tower companies that would be interested in having that location?
There are none.
There are none. This is the only game in town.
Yep.
There's nothing else to go to.
What they do now is they look for private properties. And the private properties that they can find, we're going to deal with those people.
Right. And I've heard that they were very lucrative. I'm just curious if there's other sources other than this.
I've checked with other companies as well.
So we're really, this is the best you can do.
Yep.
So what are they looking at for increase?
I think it was 32,000 we get monthly. I'll probably get other number. We're going to go up to 4,000 a month.
Instead of doing 15% every 5 years, it's 3% of your self compounding annually.
Okay, so what are we looking at per month?
4,000.
4,000?
Yeah, up to 4,000.
Presentation.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
It seems like a much better deal. I was at the presentation, I looked at the numbers. It looks like a better deal to go this route. I was just curious if that was the only game in town.
I would support sending it to the town meeting.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns before we move? I'd make a motion to send to town meeting the lease agreement for the cell tower site, not for the sale, for the lease agreement.
Lease agreement for Crown Castle.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the next item on our agenda is to add the proposed budget schedule. And if you guys would like more time to look at it, we can table this also.
I don't know that we need to table it.
Yeah, I just wanted, if it's something anyone's concerned about, we can.
My question is, has the Board of Education or the Finance Director from the Board of Education looked at these dates, and is it doable? And as far as you're all set? And have you seen the dates? Are you okay with the dates as a selectman?
So I had,
Do you have
this different thing that
We did change one date, I think we made it March 11th.
Yeah.
Is that the only difference that you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's March 4th and now it's March 11th.
Yeah, now it's March 11th.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm also away. So, the Board of Education, as far as, me and Mr. Renton did look at this today, because we had an email and
hopefully it will be the case. I don't know about everybody else on the board. I just want to hear what the people have to say.
Yeah.
I move to accept the budget schedule.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the last item on our agenda is adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second